to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Attleboro School Committee of Monday, May 20th, 2019. This is your reminder that this meeting is being electronically recorded. Tonight is our annual event where special event for the school committee here. We recognize representatives of a soon-to-be graduating class of seniors here at Attleboro High School and for their achievements. And they also bring in some of the teachers that they had throughout their time in the Attleboro Public Schools that helped them get to where they are now, to recognize teachers throughout the district as well. So it's a special night that I think we all look forward to. And with that, I'll turn it over to the principal of the high school, Mr. Rooney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Withers. I would just like to echo his welcome to everyone that's here tonight. And I realize we have a overflow crowd out into the lobby. And again, I just want to express my appreciation to the committee for what I believe now is our 6th year of being able to spotlight a cross-section of an outstanding senior class. And tonight is certainly no exception. I think one of the things that's most redeeming to me is the fact that this is truly a celebration from pre-K all the way through 12 plus of students and staff in the Attleboro Public Schools. So Ms. Hickox and I are very proud each year to be able to present this outstanding cross-section of seniors to you. Obviously, we're looking forward to May 31st, hopefully outside in the stadium, where we will celebrate all 380 members of the class of 2019 at our 150th commencement exercises. I felt it would be relevant for me just to share some stats about the class of 2019, and I'm very grateful to Ms. Brindley as well as our guidance department for providing these statistics for me. First of all, the class of 2019, the students were accepted at 195 different post-secondary institutions. They will attend 94 different post-secondary institutions. An astounding 99.7% of this senior class will have positive placements next year. Positive placements means that they will either be in a post-secondary institution, they will be in the military, or they'll be joining the workforce in a relevant trade. Many of you were able to join us for scholarship night last week, and Ms. Hickox did a great job with calling out the many students who received scholarships that night, and we're very grateful to the donors who support that night for us. Last Thursday, we gave out $233,540 in scholarships just from the Attleboro area alone. But even more astounding is that this class of 2019, through our self-identification process, was offered an astounding $14.5 million in renewable scholarships from their institutions. It's amazing. So obviously, this class is one that's going to leave a very strong legacy at Attleboro High School. So without further ado, we would like to follow the tradition that we've established a few years ago, which is we will call up groups of 2 or 3 seniors at a time. We'll also call up the teachers that they have asked to represent them. And I will say that each year, this is one of the most difficult parts for me, is to narrow down the teachers that get a chance to come with these students, because if they had their preference, they would be bringing many more of the staff members. So when we call your group, the 3 students would come up and have a seat at the head of the table, and we will also call the staff members that will be representing them as well. So our first group will be Riley Netter, Jen Larson, and Tiana McDonald, and they are represented by Ms. Gattoni, Ms. McCarthy, Ms. Cordero, Ms. Barreco, Ms. Rotundo, Ms. Rigo, Ms. Crawford, Mr. Bowie, and Ms. Rosa.
Rosa here?
Yes, she is.
At home?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she heard.
There we go. We like an entrance. Riley Netter. Riley has achieved at the highest level throughout her times at AHS in both academics and extracurricular activities. In addition to her high rank and GPA, Riley has attended Girls State and hopes to return as a mentor this year. She's an officer of both chorus and drama, participates in color guard, and volunteers at Providence Performing Arts Center. Riley plans to attend Rhode Island College for theater and has also been...
Rhode Island. My bad. University of Rhode Island.
Oh, I beg your pardon. University of Rhode Island. And has also been waitlisted at Brown University. She's represented by Ms. Gattoni, Ms. McCarthy, and Ms. Cordero. Jen Larson. Jen's maturity, work ethic, and commitment to school and community set her apart from the crowd. She is pursuing the honors diploma and will earn a CTE certificate in medical assisting. She's also one of the student representatives to the school committee. In the fall, she will study physical therapy at Sacred Heart University. She's represented by Ms. Baracco, Ms. Rotundo, and Ms. Rigo. Tiana is an ambitious and respected member of the class of 2019. She has made a name for herself in these 4 years as a hardworking student and willing volunteer. As a member of the National Honor Society, she is a dependable peer tutor. She's a 4-year winter and spring track member, serving as captain for both her junior and senior year. She was chosen as a student representative to sit on the Attleboro Community Coalition, and for her hard work and good attitude, Tiana was this year's recipient of the prestigious Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen Award. Tiana will attend Northeastern University in the fall, and she is represented by Ms. Crawford, Mr. Bowie, and Ms. Rosa.
Thank you, Ms. Hickox. Riley, Jen, and Tiana, congratulations for being such great representatives of your class and all you've accomplished. At this time, we generally ask the students to just say a few words about their experiences at Attleboro, in Attleboro Public Schools, how they shaped you, what was beneficial, and also if you would like, why specifically you chose the educators that are standing behind you. Riley, you're the lucky one who gets to start as the first one listed, so the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank the school committee for honoring us tonight. My time at the Attleboro Public School System has been filled with nothing but the best kind of challenges. If I wanted to explore something or needed a bigger challenge than what I was getting, I was at no shortages of opportunities to come across new ideas, new adventures, new interests to fall into. I wanted to thank Ms. Gattoni tonight for seeing a young woman in need of a greater challenge than what she was getting and took a chance, gave her the challenge, and gave her the chance to grow. I wanted to thank Ms. Cordero for for teaching me the lesson that it's important to stand up and speak out about what you believe in, even if you're the only person standing. And I wanted to thank Ms. McCarthy for shaping me into the woman that I am today and helping me find my sense of self-worth. And in the words of what she once told me, if my daughter turned out anything like her, I wouldn't be happier.
Jen?
So I have Ms. Baracco with me. She was my 7th grade social studies teacher. And something that really sticks out from her class was instead of using like textbook photos or something off the internet, she put her personal photos in from when she had traveled and been working out in the field. And that actually sparked my whole interest in traveling, and now I'm looking at study abroad in college and everything. All because of that, and we were able to travel together with people to people, and that was the best 3 weeks of my life. And so that all just sprouted in your classroom. And then Ms. Rigo is also a history teacher at the high school, but I didn't have her as a teacher. I was her office aide for a couple of trimesters my junior year. And she puts on the biggest events, Blue Pride Night, graduation, and she makes it look so easy. But I know it's not, but she works really hard. And I also got an opportunity to create a video for her about student showcases, and that was just one of those projects that I'd never done before, and I'm probably never going to do again, just because it was so unique and definitely not something I would have gotten in a traditional classroom setting. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
So first, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting us to present our teachers, and I'd just like to say my years in the Attleboro public school systems have been enlightening, to say the least. You guys always encourage us to speak up and out about things we see, and I've never found a problem where I don't feel comfortable going to someone to talk about that. So first, I have Miss Crawford, my 4th grade teacher. I was a new student at Hyman Fine, and it was my last year at Hyman Fine, and she really made that experience welcoming, and honestly, it was the highlight of that whole year, was having her as my teacher. I had Mr. Bowie in middle school as, not as a actual set teacher, but more as a substitute teacher. But seeing him in class would brighten my day. I looked forward to seeing him. I'd see him in the hallways and be like, "Oh, Mr. Bowie!" And seeing him in the high school sometimes, because your son runs track, just having conversations with him, it's always been really fun. And then Miss Rosa, I had as an English teacher in the 11th grade. She pushed me towards social activism and really encouraged me to put myself out there, and even helped me write my college essay, even though it was 2 days before the deadline. So overall, I just really thank you guys for giving me these opportunities.
Thank you.
Well, again, congratulations to the 3 of you, and thank you for being such good representatives of the class of 2019 in the Attleboro Public Schools as a whole. To the educators behind you, thank you as well for helping shape our students into successful young, well, in this case, women, and being successful members of our community. For each of the students and each of the teachers, we have a certificate of achievement award. What I'm going to do is read them now, because they all essentially say the same thing rather than repeat myself over and over. So I'll start with the student award, which states the Attleboro School Committee hereby commends the student of the class of 2019 for representing the Attleboro High School's 150th graduating class with great distinction. The governing body of the Attleboro Schools conveys its best wishes for a future defined by happiness and success. Signed, Stephen K. Withers, Jr., May 20th, 2019. And then to our educators, you'll be receiving a certificate of gratitude, which states the Attleboro School Committee hereby commends our educator for her contributions to the Attleboro High School's 150th graduating class. On behalf of the Attleboro community, the governing body of the Attleboro Schools conveys its sincere gratitude to you and your colleagues for engaging, challenging, inspiring the Attleboro High School class of 2019 throughout their time at the Attleboro Public Schools. Stephen K. Withers, Jr., Chairman, May 20th, 2019.
Thank you.
I didn't change my last name. I wasn't sure if you'd recognize. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was fantastic.
Awesome school to do.
Dude, it's been a week since I've seen you. You've changed so much.
That's right. That's right.
You have to get by that way.
Scholarship.
Did that?
No.
Yeah. I would leave that one closed. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like school committee Jenga.
So our next group will be Mason Houle, Colin Jackson, and Mackenzie Wildrick. And they are represented by Miss LaMonica, Miss Irving, Mr. Mazzini, Miss Jackson, Miss Nygaard, Miss Poirier. Mr. Ty was trying to get here from a track meeting, and Miss Nibla. So we will start with Mason. Mason is a personable, responsible, and mature young man. He is an honors diploma candidate, captain of both the basketball and baseball teams, and volunteer with Special Olympics. Additionally, this year he is serving as an aide in the classroom for students with special needs. I can tell you from a personal perspective, he has been a mentor to my son and many other younger players and student athletes in the school. He intends to study engineering at the University of Rhode Island. He is represented by Miss LaMonica, Miss Irving, and Mr. Mazzini. Colin Jackson. Colin is a lovely young woman with goals of making her own art while maintaining a social media presence that connects to other artists whom she can assist with expressing their own visions. She already indicated this will be a tall order, but she is also open to multiple means of artistic expression, which could include writing or music production. A visual thinker and ambitious artist, Colin describes herself as a heavy participating four-year member of our art club and was nominated to attend last year's Art All-State at UMass Dartmouth for a 2-day collaborative program. She consistently volunteers at both her church and local soup kitchen and pursued a summer internship at a local company assisting with office work that included helping with spreadsheets and proofing copy. She will continue creating next fall at RISD. She is represented by Miss Jackson, Miss Nygaard, and Miss Poirier. You made it, Mr. Ty.
Always running.
Mr. Ty came to see me today and was really torn about having to be at a meeting to represent all of his track athletes and wanting to be here for Mackenzie. Mackenzie Wildrick. Mackenzie is a wonderfully well-rounded young woman. She is a CTE student earning a certificate in medical assisting. Her great attitude and calm nature has made her an invaluable student aide to Miss Nibla's class this year. She is a 4-year member of both the cross-country and spring track teams, serving as captain both her junior and senior years. She has accomplished all of this while persevering through several challenges. She somehow also finds time to maintain a part-time job as well as volunteering as a mother's helper for a neighbor. She is represented by Mr. Ty and Miss Nibla.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney. And to the three of you, again, I'll repeat myself in congratulating you and thanking you for being such good representatives of the Attleboro Public School and the Attleboro community. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished. Mason, I'll start with you. You can tell us a little bit about your time in the Attleboro Public Schools and the teachers you brought here to recognize.
Yeah, so first I would definitely like to thank everyone for having us here tonight. It means a lot. And it's an awesome honor to be here in front of all of you. I'll start in chronological order first. Miss LaMonica was someone that I loved to see every single day of elementary school and put an impression on me and a love of physical activity and sports that carried through every single year, being part of the baseball and basketball teams and soccer freshman year. So I can't thank her enough for encouraging me to get out there and be active. Miss Irving was my middle school English teacher, and having her in 5th grade, it was a little intimidating coming into middle school, and she definitely calmed my nerves right away. A lot of the things we did in her class, stuck with me, and I really loved going to her class every day, and it gave me a good footing moving through middle school and then into high school, where I met Mr. Mazzini. He is not a English teacher, but physics teacher that I had twice. I love this class so much. He kind of inspired me on my track towards engineering, where that's definitely a big part of engineering, and can't thank these people enough behind me for putting me where I am today.
Hi, thank you for having me here. It's an honor. Miss Jackson, my middle school art teacher, she was there from the very beginning, and it really helped nurture the dream that I had for so many years prior, from putting her all into her lesson plans to answering my questions and everything. I consider myself just truly blessed to have been able to experience her lessons and her dedication to teaching and her dedication to the arts. She was one of the three that readied me for a level of rigor that I expect to be involved in at RISD and for high school, where I was also blessed to be a student of Miss Poirier, who was always there just for whether it was casual discussion on how my day was or if it was just hearing how my college tours went. She was always just there for me, to support me, and to provide me with any extra information that I needed to know that would be beneficial to me. She just thought about me and my life outside the classroom, and it made a humongous difference. And Miss Nygaard, our teacher that I have now and throughout senior year and junior year as an independent study, I'm just being there to answer every one of my questions and being there to create such a positive environment for me, help me blossom into the artist and the person and the mature individual that I am today. And these three people behind me put their heart and soul into their lessons, into their students, and I just hope that tonight I can show them some of at least a portion of the joy that they've shown me throughout these last 8 years of my life, and I thank them greatly.
So I would like to thank the school committee, as like Mason and Holland did, for having us here tonight. It's an honor. Coming to Attleboro as a transfer student was a challenge. I was nervous, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I knew that I had to do extracurricular activities, and so that's where Mr. Ty comes into hand. And I didn't know what I wanted to, and I said, I'm going to do cross country. And my parents were like, cross country? You know, that involves running. And so I was so nervous, and I walk in. Here's Coach Ty with the British accent and says, hi, like, welcome. And so that just stuck with me. And Mr. Ty isn't Mr. Ty to me. He's Coach Ty. And going through the halls and seeing him through the halls, and he says, hi, Miss Wildrick. And my last name is Wildrick, but he's the only one who, it doesn't bother me because it's just normal. And he's always there for me and always pushes me to do more than what I think. And I thank you for that, for always being there. And Miss N over here, I have had the pleasure to be a peer leader in her special ed class this year. And I didn't know what I wanted to do for college. I was thinking, what if I wanted to do nursing or if I wanted to do special ed? So I talked with my guidance counselor, Miss McDonald, and I said, can I be an aide in a special ed class? And that's where I fell in love with it. And Miss N, you just show me your love that you have for the students, and it just sticks with me, and makes me want to work with them when I get older. So I just thank you for that and always being there, and I can just come to you whenever.
Well, again, congratulations and thank you to the three of you and to the educators who are here that you've acknowledged. Thank you for everything you do. I believe Mr. Domenici has certificates for all of you, and
I do.
Thank you.
Start with you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Actually good.
Congratulations. Ms. Dad,
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank
No,
you.
had it no later on. Ms. Nygaard,
Thank you.
thank you. That's it, right?
Yeah, not bad.
Nygaard, thank you. I know, I'm not only your own. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
All right.
Now you can get up. Our next group is Dylan Joseph McDonald, Jonathan Aress, and Corinne Perry. They will be represented by Ms. Dunley, Chef Deschaines, Chef Shea, Ms. Enos, and Mr. DeBurgo. I said hopefully.
Shall I start?
Corinne, you can still speak about it.
I'm going to.
Yeah, let me check. Checking the hall. Okay, I'll start with Dylan. Dylan is a motivated student who has made great strides in his 4 years. In the classroom, he is self-motivated and conscientious. Outside the classroom, he's a 4-year member of the winter and spring track teams, a member of Skills USA, and Project Unite. You can always count on seeing Dylan at any school event needing volunteers. His greatest achievement, however, in his years at AHS will be his CTE certificate in the Culinary Arts program. Dylan, with his passion for cooking, will be continuing his culinary arts education at Johnson & Wales University. He is represented by Ms. Dunley and Chef Deschaines. Jonathan is a culinary arts student who has worked hard to schedule a wide variety of academically challenging classes while also taking the classes and mastering the culinary skills required for his certificate of proficiency. John has been a 4-year member of the Art Club and a 3-year member and current president of Skills USA. For the past 3 years, he has frequently worked at a variety of school and community events that are prepared and served by Attleboro High School culinary staff and students. This year, he was honored to be asked to represent Skills USA at the annual CTE Advisory Dinner and to attend the Massachusetts Vocational Association banquet as the outstanding vocational student at Attleboro High School. He will attend Johnson & Wales University in the fall. He is represented by Chef Shea and Chef Deschaines. And Corinne has been a dedicated member of our community through the last 4 years and has poured much of that effort into volunteering in special education classrooms. Corinne has been a reliable and excellent aide for our MDAP classroom. She's a member of Best Buddies, captain of the swim team, and works as a lifeguard. She will continue her work toward becoming a special education teacher at Merrimack College next fall. She is represented by Ms. Enos and Mr. DeBurgo.
Thank you, welcome, and congratulations to the three of you for everything you've accomplished. Dylan, I'll start with you if you want to tell us a little bit about your time in Attleboro schools and the teachers you brought to acknowledge today.
At first, I'd like to thank you for honoring us at this event. Coming in 7th grade as a transfer student was hard for me because I had lost all my friends, and I didn't think I'd do as well as I did. And so Ms. Dunley, my 8th grade case manager, she has shaped the person I am today by encouraging me to pursue my dreams and my passions. And because of her, I am now in culinary arts and going to college for it. And then Chef Deschaines, over the past 2 years that I've known him, he's become a father figure towards me, and he's taught me life lessons that I will never forget, and he's impacted my life in a positive way. And that's it.
Jonathan?
It's more a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for inviting us. there's honestly just so much to say. When when I came to America in 2013, I honestly had no idea what anything would be like. I had no idea what my high school experience would be, my middle school experience would be, and as a child, I moved a lot, so I always wondered like how I'd fit in, and like I kind of grew introverted, so I wondered like how I'd fit in and find like a place that'd make me feel comfortable. Over when I was a younger child, I developed an interest in culinary arts, and my mom was she was like she had her own restaurant for a time and her own bake shop, so I gravitated towards that. And during my freshman year of high school, during our first week, I remember we went to the Brea Auditorium, and they were sending students off to their CTEs, and I remember they were listing off their names of like kids who were going to which CTEs, and when they called my name, I remember them telling me I was going to go to computer information sciences. Like, what? Like, they must have made a mistake, because like I'm like sure and positive I've been told by so many people that I could go to culinary arts here. So like I was certain that they made a mistake. And actually, before I even left, I remember walking up to two ladies, and one of them was Chef Shay, and I decided to try to introduce myself and to try to put a good impression, and to test the waters and see how it fit in, and if they were tough teachers or anything like that. So she was very kind, and she told me a lot about the culinary arts experience, and she also told me about grade school that I could go to, Johnson & Wales University. Chef Shay is the kindest and most caring teacher I've ever had in my entire life, and I am so grateful to have her. Apart from just lessons, she's very kind. Like I said, there's just so much to say. She inspires me to be the best version of myself. She constantly pushes me to try new things. She's really welcoming and open, and I'm just grateful for her for so much. Chef Deschaines, I would not be the person I am today if it was not for him. And these two, they love to praise me and love to pretty much give me the pound back, but the truth is I simply could not be the way I am without these two. Chef Deschaines, he has set a standard and example for me that I want to reach one day in my life. He's like Dylan has also said, he's also a father figure for me too, and I just really hope that one day that I can come back to show him how far I've gone and to make him proud. So I'm just really grateful for everything that they've done for me, and I'll never lose that gratitude for them.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to celebrate them, because they deserve it. I have definitely overstayed my welcome in her classroom this year. I've spent hours and hours and hours working in her classroom, and she has not kicked me out, which shows a lot. And I'm so grateful for that. And she is I would like to be her someday. So her job is exactly what I'd want. She models what it means to be an exemplary teacher. And the connection that she has with her students is so undeniably unbreakable, and anybody could see that. She has showed me what it means to be an amazing teacher and a good friend, even though it's still a teacher-student situation. We're not. But she has given me a family in that classroom, and I got through this year because of it, and I'm so grateful to have been given this opportunity. And then I have Alfredo. He is a facilities worker here at AHS, and he is a classroom favorite. I have never seen so many students love one person so much. It's to the point where we have communication devices in our room for nonverbal kids and slightly verbal kids, and we have an Alfredo button on it. So every day in the classroom I hear Alfredo, Alfredo, Alfredo. And he treats all of the students the same way that he would treat any one of us, and that's something that I don't always see with a lot of staff members, which isn't, it's amazing to see someone not flinch or anything when seeing students that may not look or act like others. And I'm very grateful for how well he is treating all of our students. They love you.
So Mr. Quinn has some certificates for the three of you students and the adults behind you. Again, thank you for everything you've done and have accomplished already and what you're going to accomplish. To the adults, thank you for the impact you have on so many of our students' lives, as this indicates.
It's top notch.
Look at that guy.
Jonathan, same. Thank you very much. Both great face for the season. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your care for our children. Anytime. Thank you for your care for our children.
So our next group will be Victoria Antone, Aidan Lancaster, and Katrina Vieira. They will be represented by Miss Casey, Miss Spina, Miss Bitar, Miss Perkowski, Mr. Tarsi, Miss Gianetti, and then Miss Casey and Mr. Tarsi again.
Are any of your favorites?
We're going to start with Victoria, even though she's in the middle. Victoria is an empathetic and caring AHS senior with an exceptional awareness of the needs of the people that are around her. She has been participating in Special Olympics and unified sports for as long as she can remember, and credits her older sister Elizabeth and the experiences that they have shared with making her the person she is today and inspiring her to pursue a career in law. Her AHS extracurriculars include Best Buddies, Special Olympics, unified sports teams, Project Unite, and student ambassadors. She has also spent many trimesters as a special education classroom aide and has been a member of both the school leadership and community internship classes. She believes that her career goal of practicing law will provide her with the tools and means to accomplish her two main objectives in life: taking care of her sister and making the world a better place where all individuals can thrive and prosper. She will be attending Salve Regina University in the fall. She is represented by Miss Casey and Miss Spina. Aidan Lancaster. Aidan will be attending High Point University with the goal of pursuing political science with an eventual job in politics. Aidan is very involved at AHS. He is one of the members of the Student Advisory Committee and has worked on the New School campaign. He has played soccer all 4 years, with the last 3 being on varsity, in which he was captain for his senior year. He is a member of Student Council and Class Council for all 4 years and was vice president in grade 11. He plays club soccer in the winter as well as in the spring. Aidan tutors through the National Honor Society and volunteers for Special Olympics. He also works part-time at a septic company for around 10 hours a week.
Love it.
Thank goodness you didn't have that tonight. He has persevered through lots of adversity and has come out better on the far end. He is represented by Ms. Bitar, Ms. Perkowski, and Mr. Tarsi. And Katrina Vieira. Katrina is a well-balanced student with a wonderful attitude. Whether it be an advanced placement class, mixed chorus, or her independent artwork, she is giving it her all and excelling. Outside of school, she maintains a part-time job and is a part of our drama club. Katrina is also someone who actively seeks out learning opportunities. Since Attleboro High School does not have a traditional photography class, Katrina took the initiative to find a summer program at RISD on black and white photography. Katrina will continue her education in art and design at Cal Poly State University in the fall. She is represented by Ms. Giannetti, Ms. Casey, and Mr. Tarsi.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney. Aidan, you're all the way to the left, so we'll start with you. If you want to tell us about your time in Attleboro and the adults you have behind you, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's long overdue for some recognition for some of these teachers. And it's definitely great to see it all come together a little bit. Attleboro Public Schools have no shortage of role models, I guess is the best way to put it, through whatever means leadership, teaching in the classroom, teaching outside of the classroom, life lessons and things like that are in abundance in the Attleboro Public Schools, and we all are grateful for that. With that being said, I guess I'll start with Mrs. Perkuski. Well, I guess I'll start with a quick story. So, all right, so 4th grade me, I'm taking the MCAS, the math MCAS, and I don't fill out any of the bubble sheet, so I get like seriously failing math MCAS. So come 5th grade, I have Ms. Perkuski as my math teacher. I'm in the low math classes, I'm in the struggling classes, and I'm sensing that something is wrong because I seem like I had a math buddy, someone to help me with my math homework, and I don't know, it just seemed like it was the perfect match. A struggling math student and an overachieving math teacher kind of came together. And from that point on, I mean, I'm not even going into a mathematics field, and I still have from 5th grade on learned to appreciate math in ways that I never thought I would, and that is simply largely due to Mrs. Perkuski and the small mathematical life lessons I guess I learned in her class. And that's also echoed and reverberated in Mrs. Batar's class back in 3rd grade. I know, so long ago. Just sort of an appreciation of the beauty of writing and poetry, things like that. I remember singing and listening to music and getting together and reading poems out loud in her class. I really don't remember anything bad about it. It was just the joyful, glorious moments of getting together and, I don't know, singing Robert Frost, I guess. And really, it's something that will always stick with me and that I honestly, truly cherish to this day. And then last, but far from least, Mr. Tarsi, I think it speaks volumes that I'm not going into a physics field. It really does, because I've never met a teacher that is more, in the best sense of the word, quirky, but also at the same time does an amazing and outstanding job of showing a true passion. I think it's a unique and interesting talent to have a passion, but also to be able to deliver that and present that to others around you. And I don't know, she could be a teacher to teachers, I guess is how I would put it. And it's great to have you guys here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Victoria?
School system since kindergarten all the way to senior year. I feel that it has very much well prepared me for a higher education, and I'm very grateful for that. So with me today, I have Miss Casey. I was a really shy kid back in middle school. I really didn't like to talk to any of my classmates, and I kind of was just kind of in the corner. Miss Casey made me feel like I was accepted, and she really pushed on my artistic abilities. Though I don't like art now, she just really stood out. And then Miss Mina, she had my older sister for a long time, so I knew Miss Mina well before I came to Attleboro High School. But here I've been in her classroom several times as a classroom aide, and she's just the teacher that I feel like I can go to when I need help or just need to go and like cool down and just be myself. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys.
Katrina?
Hi. So, I grew up in Attleboro for my whole life. I was in the Attleboro public school systems from K through 12, and it really did prepare me for college, and I met so many wonderful people, and I met all of these wonderful teachers, I'm going to start off with elementary school. So Miss Giannetti was my music teacher in elementary school, and she introduced me to my love of music. She was so kind in the classroom, and we played all these fun games like that find the key game. I loved that game. It was just really fun. And she helped us play the recorder, and in my 3rd and 4th grade years, she opened up a chorus for all the 3rd and 4th graders, and I was in it for the 2 years. And in chorus, she gave me my first solo ever. It was an air guitar solo, and she helped me realize how much I wanted to pursue singing in high school and in middle school. And in Cal Poly, I'm gonna join a choral group. I'm not sure which one. There's 3 of them, but I'll decide that in the future. And then onto middle school, I met Miss Casey, and she is the coolest art teacher ever. She pushed me so hard to do my best, and it was a lot of tough love. She was always like, fix this, fix that, and I was like, you know what, you're right. So I did, and my pieces always turn out good, and I learned so much, and she inspires me a lot to always try my hardest. And then onto high school, I was super shy. I didn't know many people because it's such a big place. But my freshman year, I auditioned for a show that Mr. Tarsi was directing. I didn't get in, but that's okay, because my sophomore year, I auditioned again, and I got into the children's show that a senior was directing, and that introduced me to my love of acting. And the first show that I was in that was directed by Mr. Tarsi was in my senior year, which was fall show, These Shining Lives, and that show really changed my life. And Mr. Tarsi introduced me to a whole new world of acting, and I want to minor in acting when I'm in college. So thank you.
I believe Ms. Scales is going around to the other door to bring you certificates, but to all of you, congratulations, and to the adults, thank you for everything you've done for our students. These 3 sitting here and all the other ones you've taught as well. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our next group is Colton Parkinson, Leah Randall, James Stores. They will be represented by Ms. Delpap, Mr. Ben Harris, Ms. Isafo, Ms. Lane, Ms. Munson, and Mr. Brooks.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, Colton. Colton is a mature and well-spoken young man who will be attending the Coast Guard Academy in the fall. He has been a high-achieving swimmer, an annual volunteer at Special Olympics, and helped with the planning and delivery of the March 14th, 2018 curriculum supporting student voice surrounding gun violence in schools. He has consistently been an active member of our community and has handled each new responsibility with enthusiasm. He is represented by Ms. Delpap, Mr. Ben Harris, and Ms. Isafo. Leah has been heavily involved in raising student voice and leading the student experience at AHS. She's helped organize the Attleboro March for Our Lives and worked with faculty to develop new social studies curriculum. Her maturity, passion, drive, enthusiasm, and determination are evident from the moment you meet her. In the fall, she will enroll at UMass Boston, and she is represented by Ms. Lane. And James. James is pursuing the honors diploma and will earn a CTE certificate in engineering while also serving on the Engineering Advisory Board. He was a semifinalist in the 2018 John Stossel Classroom Essay Contest and is the voice of Attleboro each and every morning. He has earned the rank of Eagle Scout with more than 50 merit badges to his credit. In the fall, James will attend Wentworth Institute of Technology, where he will major in electromechanical engineering. He is represented by Ms. Munson, Mr. Ben Harris, and Mr. Brooks.
Holton, we'll start with you.
All right. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for having us tonight, and thank you to all of the teachers who are representing us tonight. Man, where to start? Miss Delpap, I remember when I was in elementary school, I wasn't really the most motivated, and it seemed like everything kind of came easy to me until I kind of had a run-in and my first time in trouble with a teacher. I threw a ball up onto the roof or something, and Miss Delpap brought me aside, and she kind of said to me, "I know you're not one of the bad kids. Don't turn into them." And it was kind of it wasn't that rude. It wasn't that rude. And that was kind of a rude awakening for me, and that kind of motivated me to kind of do better for my community and for my teachers and for myself and for my family. Mr. Ben Harris, at Coelho Middle School, it's a great environment, but the very best part was in 8th grade going to Mr. Ben Harris's room first thing in the morning. I remember I'd wake up and I would know that if I had any other class in the morning, I don't know if I would have the motivation to get up that early. So it was just like it was kind of a motivator for me to be able to get up and know that I'm going to Mr. Ben Harris's class, and that's going to kind of sail me through the day. And if I can get through Mr. Ben Harris's class, I can do anything. It was tough, but it was fun. And of course, we have Mrs. Foe right there. She was probably the biggest inspiration for me throughout my entire career throughout the Attleboro public school system. When I first came into the high school, I wasn't that good at math. I remember I got like a 75 in geometry and algebra 2. I don't even want to talk about that. But when I got to pre-calculus, things started to click for me a little bit, and I think it was because of Mrs. Foe, and I think she knew that I wasn't really the best math student, but she was able to kind of tutor me and bring me aside and know exactly what to do to get me better at pre-calculus. And I'm so glad that I had her for calculus this year, because it's been all smooth sailing, and I've been understanding everything to the best of my ability, and it's been absolutely great. And she was my main inspiration for choosing my mechanical engineering major at the Coast Guard Academy. So, thank you all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming here tonight, all the teachers and students that are here. I was new to Attleboro. I was a freshman going into high school. So coming here, I was expecting the stereotypical high school environment, but Attleboro was so welcoming, and I was so surprised by that. And I felt like so comfortable being a new student in a really big high school. But my senior year, I had Miss Lane, and I worked with her through my independent study for U.S. government and through being her yearbook aide. And I would always look forward to going to class every day and getting to do the new thing on the yearbook, or making a new spread, or learning new things about government. And I could always go to her with a question about anything, and she'd help me understand the material and the content. And she would always
make me happy and put a smile on my face, and I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you, Mr. Withers. So I'd like to start by not only thanking the school committee, but just everyone here. This really is a great opportunity, and I'm really honored to be here. So my experience in the Attleboro Public Schools has not just been one of, personal educational growth, but personal character growth. I've gone through so many different transformations from all the years that I've gone to schools in the Attleboro area. While I was in elementary school, I was a loud and enthusiastic boy. In middle school, I was a very shy and quiet boy. And when I got to high school, I grew into a confident public speaker that loves every second of being here. And that's all because of the 3 teachers that are behind me. They really have helped to make me into the person that I am today. So why don't we go over a little bit of how they've helped me with that. So first is Mrs. Munson. She was my 3rd grade teacher. And the things that I remember the most about her is how happy she made me every day when I could come to class. She really helped to invoke my love of reading through the Accelerated Reader program. She made it such an enjoyable experience while at Hill Roberts Elementary School. Every day in her classroom was just absolute joy. She made even the most boring concepts in education not only accessible, but super enjoyable. And I can't thank her enough for that. Then we have Mr. Ben-Harris. Oh, there he is. I was wondering where he went. Then in 8th grade at Coelho Middle School, Mr. Ben-Harris was my history teacher. No other teacher that I've ever had has had more of a fun and important impact on my enjoyment in history as a whole. Not only the energetic school environment in his classroom, but just the amount of super enjoyable projects that we took part of really made me love history and want to learn more about it. I actually have an example with me here. Honestly, my favorite project I've ever been a part of, he had us research various different historical figures and create an action figure with packaging and everything. And I picked a name out of a hat. I got Johann Gutenberg. And I type it into Google, and I start to read about him. And someone that I've never heard of, just the interest in history and learning about these amazing advancements that these individuals made, it really sparked my interest in the course as a whole. And this remains today one of my favorite academic experiences as a whole. So I really thank you for that. Absolutely amazing experiences. Thank you very much. And for Attleboro High School, we have Mr. Brooks, my statistics teacher in senior year. No other teacher in all of my years has had such an enjoyable and energetic classroom environment and has provided me with experiences to not only improve in my public speaking abilities, but leadership abilities, assisting my fellow teachers. Whenever a teacher would be struggling with something, if Mr. Brooks, needed to focus on another student, he would always ask me to try to help them out. And I personally love helping others when they struggle. So it was great experiences for me. And overall, fantastic guy. I mean, what else is there to say? Just fantastic opportunity. And just one other thing before I finish, not the 3 behind me, but I actually wanted to give a very special thank you to Ms. Hickox. This year, my experience as the morning announcements orator for Attleboro High School has been such a great experience in my personal development and my confidence in public speaking, and it's an opportunity that I can't thank you enough for. So thank you so much for that.
Congratulations and thank you to the 3 of you again. Mr. Stores has certificates for each of you, as well as the educators behind you, so thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
And he is my son. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Last but not least, we have Alexis Compton and Kathleen Cairns. They will be represented by Miss Delpap, Miss Labossiere, Miss Trudeau, Miss Lusk, Miss Silva, Mr. Parker, and Miss Cordero. It's tradition that we always conclude with the two honor graduates of the graduating class. So, Alexis Compton is the salutatorian of the Attleboro High School class of 2019. She will be attending WPI, where she will study biomedical engineering. She has amassed the following resume: National Student Leadership Conference as a junior, National Honor Society, Honors Diploma candidate, the Excellence in Algebra Award, the J. Lim Foundation Award for Science, University of Rochester Book Award, 4-year member of class council, including being the prom chair, field hockey team captain, lacrosse, volunteered as a student ambassador and as a student tutor in underclassmen courses that specifically serve students transitioning to the high school. She is represented by Miss Delpap, Miss Labossiere, and Miss Trudeau. And Kathleen Cairns. Kathleen is the valedictorian of the Attleboro High School class of 2019. Kathleen is a high-achieving individual who not only thrives in the challenging academic curriculum required to earn the honors diploma, but also carries her enthusiasm for competition into her extracurricular life. Kathleen takes pride in her strong work ethic and dedication to not only achieving her personal best, but also in her willingness to help others achieve their goals. In addition to her academic classes at AHS, she has also taken art and music electives to contribute to her personal growth and has been a regular participant in art club as well as in Answer for Cancer. She plays flute and is an active member of her church youth group as well as an accomplished dancer who has won medals at local, regional, and national levels for both performance and choreography. Whether at school, church, or at the dance studio, she is quick to offer her assistance to those around her and gains personal satisfaction from helping others. She is planning to pursue a career in business management where she hopes to create a workplace atmosphere that encourages and supports individuals as they strive to achieve job satisfaction. She is represented by Ms. Lusk, Ms. Silva, Mr. Parker, and Ms. Cordero.
Congratulations to both of you. Alexis, we'll start with you. If you could, you've been paying attention, I'm sure, so you know what to do.
I'd like to thank everyone for having me here and having all of us here. It is really important for teachers to be recognized for all that they do for the students. Sorry.
Got a lot of speeches.
Okay, sorry. Obviously by my resume, you can see how much. I'm so sorry. Okay. Stop. Yeah, by my resume, you can see how much the Attleboro school system has helped me become the person I am today. It has given me loads of opportunities, and by seeing all the teachers I've had the past 12 years walk in just brings a smile to my face. So if that doesn't speak volumes, then I don't know what else will. Miss Delpat, my 4th grade teacher, through elementary school, I did not like writing at all, and I was not a huge fan of English whatsoever, but Miss Delpat, who I knew as Miss Dunn, made it okay for English, I guess, and made me want to learn it more, so I'm appreciative of that, because I don't think I'd be as well off as I am if I didn't want to learn how to write from her class. Miss Labossiere was my 7th grade science teacher, and she kind of taught me that women can be important in the STEM field, and it's a cool field to be in. And then she was my field hockey coach 8th grade year, and like I became captain and I fell in love with the sport, and it's part to her because she made the sport so fun. And then Miss Trudeau, who I have as my AP Calc teacher this year. She has been like there for me for everything, and I don't. Yeah, she's gonna cry. So I'm just so thankful for the Attleboro school system altogether.
Thank you so much for letting us come here and talk about the teachers that have influenced our lives in so many different ways. The people behind me are all incredible people, and I'm so glad they get recognition. I second Alex with all of my emotions because it's crazy seeing all these faces. I haven't seen them in so long. But I want to start with Miss Lusk. So a lot of us probably don't remember a lot about elementary school. It feels like so long ago to me, but I'm never going to forget Miss Lusk's class. Walking into her class every day gave me so much joy. And I know my sister had her before me, and she would rage on and on about how much she loved Miss Lusk. And going into her class, I didn't know what to expect, becoming a Lusketeer. and that name, ever since I heard it, it stuck with me. She always encouraged me to be so kind to others, and she was always so accepting of everything I wanted to do. All of my passions, especially dance, she was always there for me, enjoying me that she cared and that others would be appreciative of it. So I thank her so much. We actually saw each other last year at one of my dance recitals, and seeing her face made me so happy. It was just crazy to be able to connect with her again, and I'm so thankful for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, going on to middle school. Middle school can be a tough time for kids, especially you're in that awkward stage, the age where you're going in between elementary school and high school, and it's really interesting for some kids. But it's where I first learned that I loved writing, and I loved everything to do with writing. And Miss Silva was my seventh grade writing teacher. And I just remember one thing from her class. It's this essay that we wrote on should schools have uniforms. And I remember the class got for and against very, very intensely, to the point where they would verbally yell at each other if one person was for uniforms and one wasn't. So I remember writing that essay and thinking, how can I convince people that we shouldn't have school uniforms? And she taught me all of these techniques that I could be able to use. And it's just really stuck with me how passionate she was about writing. And she really cared about teaching the students real life lessons, not just, oh, use elaborative detail, use these points, but being able to see that.
That too.
Oh, I know, you did all of that. But she was able to show that getting across your point in words is so important, and that's stuck with me all through high school. And then I'm going to continue on with Miss Cordero. She was my sophomore English teacher, and as soon as I walked into her class, I felt welcomed. She made me feel like she was her best friend automatically. She was, hello, every morning she would welcome me. And it was just so incredible to have someone that felt like a friend in the community. Especially being a sophomore, I started thinking about more what I want to do with my future. I had no idea. But in her class, she talked a lot about real life situations and dystopia and utopia. I know she's very passionate about that. And it was just so incredible to have a teacher that cared so much about her students, not just inside of the classroom, but outside. She would always ask me about my day and what I was doing after school, my activities. She would always keep us up to date with her family too, which was super important. It felt like such a strong bond that we couldn't ever break. So thank you so much, Miss Cordero. Oh, go for it. All right, Mr. Parker. As a junior, I went into AP Lang. That sounded very daunting to me. I know I loved to write, but I was still a little nervous about AP Lang. It seemed so intimidating. As soon as we walked into the class, I knew that it was going to become a family. We made a group chat on that first day with everyone in the class, and we still talk in it to this day, so that's really cool. But the most important thing I take away from Mr. Parker's class is how many real life issues and debates we were able to talk about in discussion. He put such an emphasis on conversation and participating in class, which is, I feel, is so important. We talked about issues like racism. We talked about different things like where we're going in the future with technology. We talked about the economy. So at times it didn't even feel like a writing class, which was really cool. But every 2 weeks and once a month, we had to do these assignments. One of them was political awareness assignment, and one of them was a documentary assignment. In these assignments, we had to watch either a news show or a documentary and write a report on it. And I remember in the beginning, we were all dreading them. Every 2 weeks, we'd be like, oh, we need to watch a show tonight. So we'd all be scrambling to write these essays. But then as it kept going, I realized why he did it. And it was to be able to keep us in check with our world around us. Because I feel like a lot of kids our age, they totally forget about the news. Not some of the kids in this room, of course. But they really just neglect the fact that there is a world around us that needs help and that we have a voice in changing that. So I'm super thankful for Mr. Parker for showing us that. Yeah, that's it.
Congratulations to both of you. Ms. Johnson comes around with your certificates. And again, to the educators, thank you for the impact you've had on these students' lives.
Congratulations. I have a lot of women in my family who are assigned, so I'm very excited for what your future holds for you.
Thank you to Mr. Rooney and Mrs. Hickox, and again, thank you to everyone, all the students and educators that are still here who spoke. You're a great representation of the Attleboro Public Schools and of the community as a whole. It's not easy for anyone to get up and speak on TV in front of a room, packed room, warm room, so you all did very well. Made Attleboro High School proud, Attleboro Public Schools proud, so job well done, and best of luck the next coming couple of weeks. Enjoy it as you get close to graduation and moving on to the next chapter in your life. We're sure that you will make us proud and go on to do great things, so thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
He showed up with the real thing. I was like, man, I can't do that anymore. Really? You emailed me the other day. And I was like, no, I still have that.
You've earned it.
Okay, we'll move on to the business portion of our agenda tonight and start with the report of the superintendent. Mr. Sawyer?
Thank you, Chairman Withers. Well, it's certainly hard to follow that. I'm sure you share with me taking great pride in what we just saw, and I think it's really nice to be able to stand back from the work that goes on in the Attleboro Public Schools every day and see what it all adds up to. It's really heartwarming. I have just a few couple short items for you, actually short this time. Obviously, as we saw tonight, seniors are on our mind. This is the last week of classes for our seniors. The senior events are upon us, and we will be having graduation a week from Friday, May 31st. I do have a personnel note for you this evening. We have received the resignation of our assistant principal at Brennan, Ms. Schwinnard. She has taken a position in another district. We wish her well in her career path, and we will be posting her vacancy imminently. So just wanted to let you know that had occurred, and you can look for that posting. I also wanted to remind you that we will be bringing Ms. Karen Tanakis, our selection for Thatcher Principal, at our next meeting on June 10th, so you'll get a chance to meet her. Just wanted to give you a quick update on FY20. I just want to remind everybody that in terms of our budgeting, that is a moving target as always. Many of the variables are just those variables, and they remain variable throughout the year, so it's no surprise that we continue to track those things, and we will be presenting a budget in June that reflects the most up-to-date thinking, and there'll be adjustments made, and we'll let you know what those things are and be able to explain to you why we've been able to make some changes. At this time, the big moment that we're waiting for is the reconciliation between the House and Senate budgets. Obviously, we hope that it's more towards the Senate side of things. That'll certainly be good for Attleboro if it is. And I just wanted to take a moment to point out that while many of our neighboring communities did not fare as well as Attleboro did in the Senate budget, that reflects the Senate's understanding and commitment to taking on the issue of equity that Attleboro suffers from under the current conditions. So I'm very pleased that they understand this issue and are trying to make an honest attempt to do something about it, because while I certainly appreciate that every community in the Commonwealth wants to see an improvement in education funding and rightly believes that we need to do better, a solution that only distributes increased funding equally will contribute to Attleboro's overwhelming problem of not being able to keep up with wealthier communities. So I appreciate the Senate's thinking on this. I just wanted to let you know that our efforts to improve communication continue. The district's podcast has a new episode, which is relevant tonight. I interviewed actually a couple of the people who were honored this evening, so you can check that out. The last bulletin for this year will be coming out this week. I will include that in my update on Friday, but you can also always find those on the website. And then just wanted to remind the community that both our website and our Facebook page devoted to the high school project, it's a great place to learn on a weekly basis what's going on with the project and what people can expect. And speaking of the project, my only update for that is that we're wrapping up finalizing bid package 2, and that bid package 3 is out for bids, and that process will be closing up in the next week or so. So the project continues to move along, and we're very excited to see the work being done and realize that this is something that will be upon us all too soon. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Next, we have an update on the Outer District Survey. Mr. Geddes?
A couple of weeks ago, we put the out-of-district survey on the table because of some technical difficulties related to the survey and some changes we wanted to make. In keeping in touch with Assistant Superintendent Regan and Jonathan Plurd, the head of our Office of Information Technology, some of the changes are still causing some trouble. In talking with Assistant Superintendent Regan and Subcommittee Chairman Quinn today, we decided it would be best to keep it on the table, given the timing of the year. By the time we get everything squared away and get it out, we'd be right up against the end of the year. So we would like to launch it in October after we have a good idea of who's here and who isn't. A lot of the problems come from us, how we ordered the page of reasons, and so where Jonathan has had some trouble rectifying those issues with SurveyMonkey's tech support. So we're gonna get those squared away over the summer and be ready to roll with it in the fall. Thank you.
And these are the technical issues or things that should be able to be resolved by October?
Absolutely, absolutely. It seems like we're pretty close to getting them resolved now. We made some changes to how it was set up, and some of that we were able to go back to, but some of the additions are still causing some challenges. So, but they'll be squared away.
Yeah, there's a lot of linking variables as we try to get useful data and try to be precise. A lot of the questions are predicated on previous answers, so making sure that that flow is correct and it makes sense so that people both provide the data that we need and we don't have people checking out of the survey because it's either too long or doesn't pertain to them. Can be complicated as you put together these kind of decision trees. So appreciate all the efforts from Mr. Geddes and Mr. Plur to get it right.
Mr. Domenici?
So just a quick question. We say October, but if we're that close to kind of fixing those technical issues, is there opportunity that at least as a whole body we can review it, even though we meet limited in the summer, to just have it ready to go? Part of my question would be, would towards the end of summer, when people start getting into school gear, be a good time to potentially consider releasing?
Part of the reason we wanted to wait to enroll, I can't think of the proper term. I can only think of the college terminology. Our enrollment freeze is end of September.
Sure. October 1st.
Yeah, so by October we'll have a better idea of who's come into the district, who's gone out. School choice will have been settled a little bit more, so that's why we had figured October. But I think having the final draft, I know it was sent along with our packet for tonight's meeting, and that's pretty close to what we will be sending out. But I think having something by the end of the year for a final look, that's probably possible.
Thank you, Mr. Geddes. Next, we have our minutes from our May 6th, 2019 meeting. Draft of the minutes were circulated with your packet. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Consent agenda tonight. Motion to accept the donation in the amount of $500 in memory of Kyle Johnson from the Johnson family to Attleboro High School Project Unite.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the donation in the amount of $205.64 from Educational Investors of Attleboro to the AHS Gifts and Donation line.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept a donation in the amount of $2,000 from the Attleboro Elks number 1014 to the high school band.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. That concludes the consent agenda tonight. Moving on, we have one subcommittee report, and that's policy and personnel. Ms. Scales?
Thank you. We started the meeting by reviewing the updates to the student handbook. They have also been reviewed by legal counsel. There will only be hard copies available upon request. There will be an electronic sign-off through Aspen for both families, students, and staff. There weren't any substantive edits to the elementary or high school handbook. Middle school handbook had an update to include a tiered system for student discipline. And new this year, a handbook for both ELC and ACA. The subcommittee had questions on motor vehicle idling as well as language for the vaccination policy. Because the handbooks will be online, there will be a longer timeline for approving them. The administration will check to make sure the language is consistent with the current policy and bring back at the next meeting.
You mentioned the handbook changes to discipline at the middle schools. Was that as a result of part of the community engagement discussion around discipline?
To be heard.
Yeah.
Through tiered discussions, or a tiered system to support restorative practices and to be more thoughtful when providing discipline to students.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next, we looked at policy IHBDBA, in-school SAT review classes. The Teaching and Learning Subcommittee vetted this, and even though Mass does not have a policy, they recommend that we keep it as edited. Motion to approve IHBDBA as presented.
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Teaching and Learning also looked at policy IKFA, early graduation criteria, and its 2 exhibits. They recommend that we give the administration a year to review the criterion and bring it back to policy once it is completed. They also recommended that we remove the 2 exhibits from the policy book. Motion to remove IKFA R1, criteria for early admissions programs, and IKFA R2, diploma to early admissions students from the policy book.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We had a follow-up to the addition of the assistant principal position at Hill Roberts. Ms. Regan provided us with the feedback from teacher staff who were polled and reported that the culture has improved. There are more individualized supports in place, and they now have the ability to provide more behavioral PBIS training. The hope is to do the same thing at Studley next year. We want to remind the rest of the committee that this would not be an additional staff, but that it would be a change by transitioning one of the coaching positions into an assistant principal position. Ms. Regan next showed us the changes to the school choice policy, JFBB, as well as look at the proposed school choice application and guidelines. Subcommittee thanked Ms. Regan for all the hard work she put in such a short time to get the information up on the website. We will have 11 openings in grade 5 and 16 seats in grade 9. Ms. Regan, do you want to update us on the reaction so far or feedback you've gotten?
So today was our first day that we were accepting applications, and when I left the office today, we hadn't received anything as of yet, but the window is open from May 20th until June 7th at 3 o'clock, so we'll be accepting applications within that window.
Perfect. Motion to approve JFBB as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Just a comment to echo Mrs. Scales and the committee. I wasn't there at the meeting, but you and I know you would say it was a team effort, had to turn this around in quite a short amount of time, probably unexpected. And I think given kind of where we were budgetarily played into that, and I just wanted to first thank you for all that effort, and please pass a lot along to your team as well. But I also think it's kind of a learning experience for us. I know for me, this was in the back of my mind, and I think that as we're setting goals and setting agendas or objectives for the district, that we be a little bit more clear if this is the type of thing that we want to have done, because it was yeoman's work, and can appreciate the lift that it took when other projects were planned. So thank you.
I also just want to make sure everybody's aware this is our first year, so we do expect some tweaking along the way as we go along. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. The administration brought forward an updated IJNDB, Empowered Digital Use Policy, which is more comprehensive and up-to-date, and its 2 exhibits. Legal counsel has also reviewed and noted that it is SIPR compliant. Motion to approve IJNNDB as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And motion to approve the policy exhibits IJNDD E1 and E2 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Let's see. Motion to, when we were reviewing the handbook, we were adding the the Early Learning Center registration fee to the handbook, but we're also going to add it to the user fee schedule, which is JQE1. So motion to approve JQE1 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, you have before you an updated 2019-2020 academic calendar. Reflects the need to designate March 3rd as a vacation day due to the need to use Coelho for voting, which will be a Super Tuesday, and it is expected to draw a high voter turnout. Motion to approve the amendment to the 1920 academic calendar as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So we had talked about primaries not closing. Is it because do we expect this specific one to be a big turnout?
Yeah, because we don't have any experience to draw from and make, sort of sensible guesses about what to expect in terms of how we're going to use the building, because we are going to make changes to the way we do it, as we've discussed, but we haven't done it yet, so there wouldn't really be there wouldn't be a lot of time between November and March to make a decision if we felt like we had a problem. So we're urging caution on this, but yes. There's a lot of reason to believe that the primary for the presidential election is going to be one of the bigger turnouts, which is not something that would normally happen, but in this year that is what we're expecting.
Thank you. Yeah, when we were discussing this a couple of months back and we approved this, I think the committee took a very thoughtful look at it. The fact that we actually said we'll do it at the one school and not at the other, I think that was because we looked at what we felt could work with the school building in operation that day. I'm not thrilled with the idea that we're actually looking to close the school for a day, especially since just a week and a little bit before that they're on vacation. But I do understand it, and I do support it. I'm just hoping that in the future, even when there is high primary, we'll get to the point where we feel that we can run it while the building is open.
Yeah, I think under normal circumstances, we have every reason to believe we can. But there's a tipping point at which it becomes problematic, and without enough experience to say exactly where that is, I just thought in the first year we should, side with caution.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Lastly, the administration brought forward several job descriptions for review. They have all been vetted through the lab and its committees. Motion to approve the proposed CTE Children's Center job description.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion to approve the proposed Dean of Students job description.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion to approve the proposed ESL teacher job description.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion to approve the proposed Title I teacher job description.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We did have one other nursing, I think it was, that we sent back and had a couple more questions on. Our next meeting will be held on June 3rd.
Thank you, Mrs. Scales.
You're welcome.
Last on the agenda tonight, we have open forum. Is there anyone who would like to come forward at open forum? Mr. Furtado, you're okay back there? All right. I'll go ahead and close open forum and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't know he was going to do that. That's awesome.
I'm excited.